And I'm going to take us live on Facebook. And then I will take us live on the Rich Chick 360 page, and then I will share it out to my personal page, and then I'll tag you as well.
Okay.
And then that
Great.
way you can have it. Just preparing. And I think we are live. Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in, come on in. Hey, Rich Chicks. Welcome to another episode of Rich Chick 360 Life and Business. I'm your host, Monica Matthew Smith, owner and CEO of RichChick360.com, where we provide education, access, and community for women who are wanting to improve their life through entrepreneurship. And today, joining me, I have another lovely guest, Dr. Tamara Beckford, and we will get into the conversation with her in just a second. But I want you guys to come on in and to share this broadcast out. Let us know where you are tuning in from. And if you're catching this on the replay, thank you for joining in as well. Okay. And I'm going to take 1 second to share this to my page as well. And then we will get on into the conversation. So thank you, everyone who is joining. Come on in and tag a woman who you know is interested in starting her own business, especially if she is in the medical field. I'm super excited to have someone who has started their business, has gone through the journey, and who has experience in the medical field, just honing their own path. And I want to share this with as many women as possible to let them know what is possible for them as well. So come on in. I'm just going to take a second and share this out. And we will hop on into the conversation. All right. All right. Give us 1 second, guys. And while you are waiting and sharing this out, don't forget that you can also join us over on YouTube at richchick360.com. You can also join us on Instagram at richchick360, as well as find our podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever it is that you tune in to your podcast, we are available there as well. All righty. So I have shared it. I'm going to tag Dr. Beckford, and then I'm going to read her amazing bio just so that you guys know exactly who it is that we have with us this evening. So let me share this out. There we go. Okay. All right, guys. Again, thank you for tuning in. This evening, I have Dr. Tamara Beckford. She is a board certified emergency physician who attended medical school in Newark, New Jersey, and trained in emergency medicine in Philadelphia. Dr. Beckford has over a decade of experience working in emergency rooms, and she has treated heart attacks, strokes, gunshot wounds, mended broken bones, and even delivered babies. Most recently, Dr. Beckford has been on the front lines battling the surge of COVID-19 in our community. She is the founder and CEO of Your Caring Docs, which is a telemedicine urgent care. Caring Docs also provides general medical information about health and wellness to empower the community. Dr. Beckford, welcome, welcome. Thank you for taking time to join us this evening.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Awesome. Yes, yes. And so am I. So I gave a little snapshot about who you are and what your business is, but take us a little deeper into what it is that your Caring Docs offers.
Okay, so Your Caring Docs is a business that, as we said, there's two parts to it. So there's the treatment and then there's the prevention, right? Okay. So an ounce of prevention, we've always taught, is better than a pound of cure. Yeah. So with that, Your Caring Docs with the telemedicine urgent care portion, that's the curing portion where we treat medical issues that can be done through telemedicine, which are urgent care issues. So these are issues such as flu-like symptoms, mild COVID symptoms, urinary tract infections in women. If you've had a UTI, you know what it's like. So these are issues that you can get treated in the comfort of your own home. You don't have to end up leaving your house, or if these issues arise at any inconvenient time, you can jump online. We're available. We'll definitely see and take care of you. In addition to that, since, like we said, an ounce of prevention is better, we provide general medical information to really enlighten and empower the public. It's important for you to understand what's going on. So there's one thing to have a urinary tract infection, but there's another thing to understand, well, why did it happen? And how can I prevent it the next time, right? There's one thing to have, actually this month is Asthma and Allergy Awareness Month. So it's one thing to know that okay, I have asthma and it's acting up, it's flaring up. But there's another thing to understand, well, deeper, well, really, what is asthma? And understanding the triggers. Like, yeah, I feel like this sometimes when I'm around here, but what's actually going on inside my body? And so how can I prevent myself from getting these asthmatic attacks? And how can I maintain? And why is it important for me to maintain and to take my regimen and take my medication? And why is it important for me to not just rely on my rescue medicine? So these are some of the deeper things that I feel like our population, our general population overall, needs to understand. And therefore, I provide that information every week.
I love it. And when you said asthma, that hit very close to home because my husband deals with asthma. And before we married, I just wasn't around enough people who had asthma. So, I just wasn't educated. And so he had to really educate me. And so now I can just kind of help him with his journey and make sure that he's doing what he's supposed to do.
Right. Absolutely. And that's the bigger why, that's the bigger purpose of Your Caring Docs. So treatment is nice, but educating and informing. So one of the reasons why I feel like educating and informing is so important, because it empowers the patients, right? So when you understand what's going on, when you enter your doctor's office or whichever medical field office that you're entering from a position of understanding, and you can sit and have a conversation with your doctor and come up with a treatment plan together, something that's going to work for you. Because if your doctor is just saying, hey, just take this, and you don't understand why, a great majority of the patients, they don't take it. I don't understand why you told me to do this. You just told me to do it, right? And I might not even trust you. But if you come from that position, then you'll build a trust, and then you're more informed. And I feel like overall your health will end up being better. So that's a bigger why under my Your Caring Docs.
I love it. And so now, Dr. Beckford, how long have you been a doctor and what made you go into that profession?
Okay, so I've been a doctor technically Got that degree in 2007. So in '07, and as we said, it was in Newark, New Jersey. At the time, the school was called University of Medicine and Dentistry, but now it's been renamed Rutgers New Jersey Medical School. So it's Rutgers, part of the Rutgers family. And from there, I went to Philadelphia and Thomas Jefferson University Hospitals, where I trained. So my formal training is in emergency medicine, as we said. So that is the end all, and it's an all-encompassing specialty, right? I'm pretty sure that everyone has met someone in some respects in emergency, either an ER nurse or someone who works in, you've heard all the stories. Most of them are true. So in the training in emergency medicine, I get to embark and touch on almost all the additional specialties. And it's a special type of training because we're trained how to stabilize. And with that, that's in itself has come 360 with me now, wanting to educate the public, because there are a lot of different facets of medicine that I've touched upon, that I see, that I can help to prevent, and so emergency medicine actually allowed that. So after training, I moved to Houston, and I've been working in Houston, Texas since. So for probably 11 years now.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. I have so much respect for emergency doctors because, like you said, I mean, I just cannot see how, no matter what comes through those doors, you have to be able to. So I
Touch
have
it.
so much respect. And, I've loved I would say the health industry, forever. Like, I'm just so intrigued with just the diagnoses and all
Mhm.
other conditions. So I'm an occupational therapist by trade too. So, but
Yes.
so I love what you are doing. Can you give us the link to where we can find more information, or just even take advantage of your services for your caring docs?
Absolutely. So for our the website to be seen and treated, it's www.yourcaringdocs, which is URCARINGDOCS. Our medical information we provide, it is on our YouTube channel, which is YouTube slash Your Caring Docs, which is the URCARINGDOCS. We're on most of the social media platforms, so which is the same handle. On You can find us on Instagram along with Facebook. We do have the business page, but really a lot of our info is provided on our YouTube channel, which we're building more and more. So each week you're going to get more and more information. So if you really love knowing about these medical info, I mean, you will get a gluttony of it, because we've been putting information up every week since probably October of last year. So we have a ton of info: heart attack, stroke, what's congestive heart failure, high blood pressure, asthma. I mean, the list goes on and on. COVID information. So it's all there.
Awesome. And we'll make sure that all of those links are in the comment section so people can go directly there. And so now
Wonderful.
let's transition a little bit to
Mhm.
from you as a doctor to now you as an entrepreneur in the field. So would you say that there are certain mindsets that someone needs to have to say, hey, I want to either just start a business, period, whether they're in your industry or not? Just kind of what type of headspace does someone need to consider being in?
Absolutely. Such a great question, because you're correct. It really is a headspace. It's a mindset. The biggest mindset is that you see a problem and that you want to solve it, right? And that's what they say. That's what business is. Business is seeing a problem, and a business is really a solution to a problem. So you have to now switch your mind to say, like, how can I help? and also once you start putting together your plan to help, it's important that you continue working and knowing the reason why. And your reason why shouldn't be like, I'm gonna be rich, in the financial stuff. It should be, I'm gonna be rich within the passion and within the holistic sense. I'm gonna be rich because I'm going to be providing a service that others need, and I'm going to help them in that respect, right? So when we're doing our rich, like rich chicks, we know why the rich is deeper than the financial. It's all starting from within. So that mindset, there are also times where you're gonna feel like I'm by myself. No one else understands me. And that's a part of the journey, because you are looking at things from a different perspective, because you're looking at things from the perspective of how can I put this together and how can I help? So if you're solving a problem, others might not see the same solution that you see, and that's why you're so unique in trying to solve that problem. So others might not understand. And so you have to change that mindset that, okay, have to be okay with others not understanding. All the great people who have solved problems, people thought that, they're out there, they're weird, but they're looking at things from a different perspective. So that's a big shift and I don't believe it's only geared towards building a business in medicine. It's building a business, period. It's entrepreneurship, period. So you're probably going to have to go look for some like-minded people who are just as out there in the problem solving realm and are looking at things from different perspective, or they understand this new perspective that you're coming from.
And I love that. And I'm so glad that you said that, because oftentimes, like when I speak to entrepreneurs who are just starting out, one of their biggest kind of, I guess, complaints is that they don't feel like they have the support from other people seeing their vision. So I'm glad that you said that, because, like you said, it's your vision and they might not have that. So thank you for
Yeah,
saying that.
absolutely.
And now I know along your journey, you have had some obstacles and some challenges. Do you mind
Mhm.
sharing with us maybe one of those and just how you've come through that and just what you might have learned as a result?
Absolutely. One of our biggest challenges is that I did launch this business during the pandemic. I mean, and I'm still working full time as an ER doc. So those are two big challenges. And as I mentioned too, you're doing all this with a change in mindset. So you have now three things, right? You're working um, through the pandemic as an ER physician. So you're really in the crux of the pen. And then you're building a business, which you have this vision, and you now have to change your outlook on things. So that has been a lot of the challenge has really been more internal than it has been as much external. So how have I overcome it? I sought a community. So yes, so I have a community where they're like-minded people. So whenever I'm feeling down, because this is one of the things, like I'm a jolly person, that's just my personality. I'm a person who likes to uplift others, and I think uplifting others helps to uplift me. So that's kind of my giving and receiving portion in my life. So there are times when even people who are jolly and people who are very upbeat will get down, and then you sit and you wonder, is this worth it? But then when I really dig into my purpose and my why, then I feel like, yes, I know that this is worth it. And then when I bring forth my feelings to my community, and the community says, no, what you're doing is important, then it helps to continue to motivate. So the challenges, as I've mentioned, has really been more of an internal aspect, more than anything at this point, at least my perspective. Others might look at says and say, well, maybe your challenge is this or that. But for me, it's more internal.
It's internal. Love it.
Yeah.
And so now you've already alluded to just having that strong why, but is there anything else that besides your challenges that just keeps you going forward, that even after talking to your support, you're still driven to just keep going forward.
Yes, the reason that I keep going forward is really that my purpose, I believe that the general public should know what's going on in their body. Like it's not some kind of, I feel like it's an inherent thing. Like, when I am talking to my patients, and in the realm of medicine, you don't get that much time, and I'm pretty sure this is a big frustration because it says it's like 33% of the patients out there are upset. They don't have enough time to talk to their physicians. They don't feel as if they're getting that patient-physician interaction. From the physician standpoint, they're frustrated also because they're not getting a chance, pardon me, to really communicate with their patients. And when their days are allotted, they have 15 minutes to talk to the patient, to have the interaction. I wouldn't even say to talk. And I was talking to one of my colleagues recently, and I mentioned, I said, yeah, you guys, you only have 15 minutes to talk. And he says, no, it actually breaks down to 7 minutes, because by the 15-minute window includes the patient leaving the waiting room, coming in, getting, like, how it is, you get your weight, you get all this, you get placed in the room, and you get all the questions, and then the doctor comes in. So 7 minutes. Within 7 minutes, it's not enough time for both parties to really be able to engage. So if I can provide some of this info, so you're going in at least informed, during that 7 minutes, you can ask the pertinent questions. So that's why I'm like digging in and I'm working so hard to put this info out there to really bridge that gap. Because during that time, when you ask your questions and your doctor answers those questions, at the end, I feel like both parties should feel fulfilled. You're going to have a better encounter with your doctor. Your doctor will, we do medicine because we want to help. If we do not feel like we're helping, it really like burns a physician on the inside, because that was your purpose in entering into medicine. So if you can help both sides, then I feel like, in overall, we'll have a better interaction and better satisfaction on both ends, the patient and the physician. So that's what keeps me going.
And I love that. And the more that you speak, I see how your caring docs is super valuable because, like you said, it helps to inform so that when you go to the doctor, whether it's for an emergency or maybe it is like your general practitioner, you feel maybe a little more informed about maybe your own situation. Because I have to admit, I have, gone to Dr. Google, and web MD for some answers, and I know those aren't the most reliable sources. So it's good to know that there is a resource out there where there is reliable truth and fact-driven information. That's
Absolutely.
awesome. And so now, if you can, now this is kind of like a different type of question, but if you can go back and talk to anyone in history, just to have a sit down, who would it be?
This is a really good and interesting question. And I've thought about it overall. And my answer might be out there for some, but that's okay because that's just me. And I accept that I'm out there. Madam C.J. Walker.
Yeah.
Now, not from the perspective of like, how did she build her product and so on, but really, how did she form such a movement?
Yeah.
Yeah. She really started, and like we said, it's not as much from the financial aspect, but she did a why and a how. And it would be really good to speak to her. And when she's in that portion of her mind that she says, you know what, I know I can bring this to the next level, to really be a fly on the wall, or even to be able to sit down and converse with her and find out, how is she thinking about that? How did she come up with that courage? What is her strategic plan and her mindset? to get to that next level. Because I mean, if we really think about it, she had so many obstacles against her, but she did so much with that. And so she's a female.
Yes.
So she is one of the people that came to mind, said, wow, she built a mighty brand in a time when there were so many obstacles against her, including not just her skin, but just being a female and people not wanting to take you seriously. How did she overcome that? That strength, that fortitude. It's something that, it would be great to have, even to just be in the same air and just to capture 1/10 of that.
Love it. And when it'll be dinner for 3 because I'll be there right along.
Right?
I want to talk to her too. I love it. And so now, Dr. Beckford, is there a certain level or kind of sense of success that you will know when you have reached that point? Or what does your idea of success mean?
Yeah, that part is challenging because I feel like what I'm taking on is such a big task. So I do need to have a level of being able to measure it. I think when I've seen smaller bouts of it so far, and that I have seen and I've had people coming to me and saying, now I understand what's going on. This makes so much sense. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. I've had patients within who I've taken care of. And as a result, because some of the issues that I take care of are so emergent, you don't get a chance to really sit and talk to someone for an extended period of time to say, this is what happened, this is what's going on. And so I've used my videos and then I've gone back to them and I asked, do you understand this? And they said, now it makes sense. And then they relate back to me. And so it's like, I've touched another person. I've touched another person. So I would really, when I see the patient and physician interaction and satisfaction started to go up in the respect that they understand each other and they're feeling a little bit more satisfied with their encounters, which is what we call encounter is basically your visit. So when that starts to improve because of communication, then I know that I'm entering that level of success.
Love it. And well, I do want to say that you are doing a great service. So thank you for that. And just, keep doing what you are doing. And so as you're doing that, who would you say, if anybody, is among your greatest inspirations for what it is that you do as well?
So some of my inspirations, I think, are people who make big changes in life. And I haven't had just one particular one. And I think there are probably more underdogs than there are people in limelights. Underdogs who are starting movements a little bit at a time. People are not understanding what it is they're doing, but they're moving nonetheless. And then the movement goes from a pebble to a ripple to a wave to a tsunami.
Love it.
So that's my inspiration.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Love it. And so now, I know like your time is short, but have you had the time to read any good books lately? Okay, so tell us.
Yeah, I do. I do. Actually, I've started incorporating it as a part of a daily routine to read a little bit every day. And you're right, it's challenging, but I said, even if it's just 5 minutes. So my big book now is really, is one that's really bringing a lot of inspiration to me. And you hear me talking about it. And it's Start with the Why, Simon Sinek, which is really delving into not just what your business is about, but why you're doing this business. I listened to you when you did your intro, and I'm like, that's her why. Your passion. So your passion to help and to create a space for women who are in entrepreneurship. Like you're not just like, okay, we're just doing it just to do it. You have that passion. So you're starting with your why. And the more I'm into it, the more I realize that it's passion driven, but still entrepreneurship led, but it's more passion driven. So that has been a really big inspiration right now, that book, Start with Your Why, Simon Sinek. Yeah.
Love it. And you know what? I have that book. I haven't finished it yet though, but
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Dr. Beckford, what would you say is among your favorite aspects of just having your Karen docs and, having that as your baby?
Well, I think one of my favorite aspects is watching it grow, and watching it develop. As we talk about, like, even some of the challenges, I know we touched on it some before. One big challenge that I didn't even mention was the fact that I went to medical school. I didn't go to business school. So launching and doing this business, it's a baby that I'm watching develop, and it has its challenges because I'm learning so many things along the way. I'm making so many mistakes, but not letting them stop me. And I'm not letting them stop me because it starts with my why, because my passion is there. So if I stumble, that's just it. It's just stumbling. So with that, I end up really just forging this inner strength to just keep going. And, so some of the things that I have to learn, marketing. I mean, it's emergency medicine. Let's just talk about it. Do I have to learn marketing for emergency medicine? No.
They come to you.
Absolutely. So now I'm going out and telling people who I am, so it's just such a different world, business, learning, but it's exciting. It's exciting because, you feel like you're having an impact. Not that I didn't feel that I do that in emergency medicine, but it's really exciting to have an additional impact. So like, how can I prevent all of this from happening? When I see the patients and in the ER, for some things are just unavoidable. For certain things, I'm like, did you know that blah, blah, blah? And they look at me like, no, I didn't. And I said, yeah, but you don't get enough time. So I'm like, here's a video on it. Let me know what you think. And boom, even just something as simple as high blood pressure, like people hear about it, but they really don't understand it. They don't understand the implications of it. Like even something as simple as for some of our male in the population, like if you don't keep your blood pressure under control, you can have erectile dysfunction. They don't understand that. And I mean, you have people coming in 40s, mid 40s with uncontrolled blood pressure for over 20 years and then having all these repercussions. So if I can have someone who is in their early 20s for any particular reason, they have high blood pressure, if it's familial or so, and I can explain to them, I know you're not feeling the symptoms. That's something that happens with blood pressure. But if we can keep it under control, these are some of the things that we can prevent. Boom. And it's not in a preaching sense. So when I do my videos, I'm not, pulpit and preaching. I make it fun and exciting so that you feel, what's going on and you leave understanding. Like, yeah, she's someone I can relate to. And she's talking to me like my cousin.
Yeah. Love it. Love it.
Yes.
Love it. And then I can imagine with the male population, if you start telling them what might happen in that sense, that's like, oh no.
Absolutely. There's so many that I've had to, and the light bulb goes off like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, well, no, I'm setting my appointment tomorrow, or I'm going to just make sure I'm going to go, pick up that prescription and get it. Yeah, it's very important.
And so now, did you always know that you wanted to be a doctor, or how did you decide on that course?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. So I always knew I wanted to do something. I love the sciences, and when I was around 13 years old, funny enough, the same medical school that I attended some programs that were geared towards people who were interested in a field in healthcare. So my first program that I attended was for a career in pharmacy. And unfortunately, during that time, they didn't really know what to do with a high school student who hadn't really taken any of the big sciences and wanted to do pharmacy. So and this was during the time of paper charts, right? So I was placed in the basement to organize the patient's medical records in numerical order. So I was like, okay, after filing these 10-digit numbers, I'm like, maybe this is not what I want. So I reapplied the next year, and I was able to shadow a physician. And that's when the light bulb went off. I said, I like interacting with people. And this is something that I can see myself doing. So that was around maybe like 14, 15 years of age.
Yeah.
And I think maybe, so yeah, how many years? Maybe like less than 10 years later, I ended up at the exact same medical school where I did it. So it was a great big circle. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And we had that in common when I was in high school. And so around 13, 14, 15,
Mm-hmm.
my father, he was an OR tech in the Eye Institute at a hospital
Mm-hmm.
in Wisconsin. And so I was super interested in, in the whole,
Right.
and so I did a program, just to kind of shadow, and we saw like just different things.
Right.
And I even like had my first job at the gift shop in the hospital.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And the exposure, just being in an
Yes.
environment. Yes.
Loved it. And so now hopping back to your caring docs, you talk a lot about your why being like your driving force, and your support system, but are there other attributes to your success that you've had that maybe you haven't mentioned yet?
I think another huge attribute, the support system of the community is one thing, but the support system from home is paramount. My husband, the greatest supporter of all, MVP.
Oh,
Yes, absolutely. To have someone who believes in you, especially I was talking to another entrepreneur, and they said, you have some dreamers, and then, to be married to a dreamer is challenging because we're always coming up with ideas, and we're very passionate. So he supports me along the way, my parents, my in-laws, and then one of my additional whys is I have two young boys. So I have a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old.
wow.
Yes. And to be able to spend time with them is another great passion. To be able to leave this world better for them is another passion. So they are some of my hugest supporters. They're two young boys, so they do things that young boys do.
Yeah.
So now, I'm in the stage where they're climbing, and my heart is leaping because I do emergency medicine, and I just see all the things. But it's such a joy to see them, and it's such a joy to have my support base and to know that even if I stumble and I fall, I have someone who has my back. So
Love
yeah.
it. And
Mm-hmm.
then that filters into my next question. So, what type of sacrifices have you had to make as an entrepreneur who is also
Mm-hmm.
a full-time physician?
Yes, time. Time is the biggest sacrifice, I must say. So having to learn to manage my time. I know that when you start something that you're passionate about, it's very easy to put blinders on, because that's how you feel that you have to progress. One of the big lessons that I'm learning as time goes on is that having blinders are important, but the journey and those who are around you, you can't be so blinded that you miss out on what's going on. So time is a big factor. So I'm learning how to manage my time a lot better. Organizing my time actually increases more time than it does decrease in, which is very counterintuitive, because you would think that if I have everything in a slot, then it's so regimented that I won't be able to have any spontaneity. But I've had more time in organizing my time, and especially putting what's most important first, right? Family and faith is most important. The business is great. I'm doing God's work through the business, but it's important that I put those people first. So that is what I'm learning. So the sacrifice of time and organizing my time, and still going out, as you said, and working. I worked last night. I'm working again tonight. What's,
Yes.
absolutely, yeah, because I've organized, and I've organized my time so that I can do so. And and I'm having a great time, by the way. I hope you are too.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yes.
Love it. And so now when you are not doing all of the things, and what types of activities and hobbies do you put into your time slots?
Okay, so reading is a big hobby that I'm putting into the time slot, and playing with the kids. Now, it's important to me for that, because I look at, as you can see, I look at things from a perspective. I know that there's going to be a time my kids are not going to want to play with me. I know, I know. So building magnetic block houses, as my son, getting down on the floor and building magnetic block houses. The other one, he ignores me, but he looks to ensure that I'm there beside. That's the 4-year-old.
Okay.
It's probably 4 going on 14. But and then planning little activities, to get them out. It's last year was pretty challenging, right? They were in the house the entire year. There's so much that was lost because of the pandemic. So now that the world is kind of opening up and we're having more regulated, and people have come to how we can be in this new pandemic state. So it's important to try to take them out for activities that are, safer. For example, my goal this weekend is to take them strawberry picking. Let's go pick, yes, outdoor in a large farm, pick some nice juicy strawberries. So it's just, but because I want to create memories, and that's important to me, with along this journey. And that would be the ultimate word that everyone's looking for, balance. That would be the ultimate balance for me, to be able to build this successfully, the Your Care and Docs business, to successfully also have a family at the same time, and creating great memories.
Balance. Love it. So what would you tell somebody, or what pieces of advice would you say to maybe someone who's just starting, who's like, I have to grind it out. I have to just grind it out. I don't well,
Yeah, no. Yeah, absolutely. So that grind, it is important, but also remember, the grind is also a mindset grind, right? So there are going to be things, like when we say it along the way, there are going to be some changes, with that grind. And it's important too. Like, what are some of the things that's going to change? You're going to change. One is your perspective, because you're looking at something different. Two is that the company that you keep is going to change, right? And three, that mindset. So that mindset, part of that mindset is that grind. However, with grinding, you have to recognize, as I'm saying, grind, you can use it to your advantage or to your disadvantage. Grinding to your disadvantage is making yourself ill and not taking care of yourself along the process. So for me, what fills my cup is my family. So I'm grinding, but my cup needs to be filled at the same time. So whatever fills your cup, you need to grind and make sure that cup is being filled. Because when you have reached that level of success, and then you look around you and you're an island, it's just you, like, is that what you wanted? And I guess that's when we all go back and you start with your why. Like, what are some of your whys? What's your personal why? What's your professional why? You know, what is it that's bringing you there? So grinding is important because you have to put the work. And that's what I said. No one's going to say that you're not, or you're going to get this from just lying down and just thinking about it. No, you're going to have to actively work at it. However, you just need to keep in mind everything that you're working towards and make sure that you're doing so in a sense that once you reach this destination that you're looking for, everything that you want is there in the destination with you.
Love it, and perfectly said. And so now, where can we expect to see your caring docs, or just you, in the next 10 to 15 years?
I will say your caring docs 10 or 15 years from now, we should be leading the space of information, patient empowerment space. You know, you're entering your doctor's office and you're saying, oh yeah, well, I already checked this on your caring docs. I understand what's going on. Yes, you know, what are some of the things? Or, hey, doc, you know, this medication that we talked about the last time, I've been taking it. And I realized that these are some of the side effects. Because I've looked it up and these are some of the side effects. And I am not really able to handle this. It's causing a conflict in my life. Can we try another medicine in this family or that family? And you can understand, and your doctor can say, well, yeah, this will work or that will work. And this is the reason why it will or probably will not. But you understand it's not just, hey, doc, you know, or it's not just you just stop taking your meds and your doctor's not knowing that you stopped. You know, so it's a real encompassing portion of life where you guys are both on both ends are satisfied and the patient as a result is healthier.
I love it. I love it. And so let's go to the comments here to see if we have any questions, any comments.
Oh, okay, let's go.
Let's see. All right. Let me see here. Well, we had some people tune in. Thank you, ladies. And so there's Dr. Underwood from Wisconsin. That's one of our family friends. She tuned in. Thank you, Destiny Walker. And replay viewers, if you're watching this, if you have any questions, feel free to put them down in the comments. I will make sure that Dr. Beckford sees your question and so that she can respond at her convenience. Thank you guys for sharing the broadcast. Thank you, Grace Richardson, for sharing. Thank you, Tristan Jackson, for sharing. I appreciate it. Yeah. And so, Dr. Beckford, I just want to say thank you again for taking your time. I know that you could be sleeping or spending time with your family. So it is truly my honor. Is there anything else that you would like to leave? Any pieces of advice for first-time entrepreneurs or startup business owners, whether they're in the health field or not?
Oh, absolutely. It's okay to have periods of frustration. It is okay to feel lonely at times. It is okay to have a win and look around and no one understands why. But one of the things that along this journey, someone mentioned to me that I thought was so important was having a journal of wins. And I'm trying to incorporate that myself. So what that journal is that whenever something positive happens during that time, no matter how big or small, you write it down in that journal. And you just write down whatever little thing that happens. During the times when you're feeling down, just open that journal and you'll see all the progress that you've made so far. Because it's so easy for us to work towards the big wins and forget the small ones along the way. And it's easy for us to look at life from the perspective of the negative, right? We have 70,000 thoughts per day and almost 70-80% of it is negative. But when you start looking and seeing some of the positives in between, that helps. And also the attitude of gratitude. You know, the attitude of gratitude helps so much. I write it down when I'm having a day when things aren't going so well. I'll express that, and then I start writing what I'm grateful for. And it's so interesting that even just using the word, I am grateful for blank, it's so much different than I did this, I did that, I did that. I'm grateful for really puts a peace in your heart. So I would implore our entrepreneurs, our newly minted ones, to adopt some of these, and it'll help along the way, especially during the dark days.
Awesome. And well, thank you for that. And so inside of our membership, the Rishik 360 membership, we have a preferred directory. So if it's okay with you, I would love to put your caring docs on our directory. And so it's
Absolutely.
just the list. Thank you. It's just the list for our members to have a vetted and a trustworthy source to when they're looking for services, they can go straight to our list. So thank you for allowing us to include you. And again, thank you for
Mhm.
just joining us. I truly enjoyed the conversation. And then I want to say blessings to your Karen docs and
Thank
definitely
you.
covering you as an ER doctor.
Thank
And
you.
I look forward to speaking with you again and just seeing
Same
all of
here.
the exciting things that your Karen docs will do in the future.
Thank you. Thank you. This is wonderful. Thanks for this opportunity to be able to talk to your community. And thank you all the rich chicks out there, and all of you guys for including me in your community. It's truly an honor.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, thanks everybody for watching, and we will see you next Tuesday with another amazing entrepreneur. Bye. Thanks, Dr. Beckford.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.